Hello everyone, this is Supersnoopy here, back with another Star Wars The Old Republic video. Today I have for you guys another Star Wars The Old Republic discussion episode, and in today's episode I'm going to be talking about some stuff while it seems like we are playing Karaga's Palace right now. So I actually managed to get into this group through a Pug, and that's actually going to be the discussion today. This is going to be about Pug groups themselves. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing for the most part. Like I said, I'm going to be talking about Pugs themselves, the pros and cons of it, sometimes how it can be useful, and at the same time how it can become a struggle. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode of these Star Wars Pug discussion episodes. As always, if you guys enjoy these videos, then make sure to leave a like. And if you guys want some nice gaming glasses, then check the links down below. No scope gaming glasses, but yeah. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you guys in the discussion. Alrighty guys, let's get into the discussion right now. So as you can tell, what we're currently doing is we're actually playing with a Pug in Karaga's Palace hard mode. Now the reason I'm actually doing this is because I was really bored and I just wanted to do something to record my Star Wars Pug discussion episode. And I thought, what better way to do it than by playing, you know, a really simple operation in the game that is currently level 50. Now it seems like a few of the players in here haven't actually done this, so I mean, it might be a small learning curve, and it also seems like we don't have all level 60s, but that's completely fine once again. Since, like I said, I mean, it's honestly really fun to just go ahead and do these every now and then. And that's just kind of the point itself. So let's just go ahead and just keep this up once again. Now, I'm going to be talking about Pugging group content itself, the pros and cons of it. Now, like I said, I mean, what it means to Pug in Star Wars Republic means that you actually get a group of random people to go ahead and do content in Star Wars Republic when you can actually find someone else that you might know or is in a guild. And, I mean, honestly, it's really useful at times when you know you are playing, or you actually need to go ahead and actually play, you know, a game, but at the same time there's no one on that you currently, you know, play often with, and it's just honestly very useful. Now, I know that a lot of people do use Pugs when they don't actually have any guildmates on, and they just really want to do something really fast. And I mean, Pugs for the most part, they can cause that, but at the same time, when you actually play with the Pugs in Star Wars Republic, they can be a bit of a struggle. Now what I mean is sometimes when you do run with random players that you've never met before, it can be a bit of a tactic in its own, just kind of learning the strengths and weaknesses of each player, because like I said, sometimes you aren't really playing with your own player itself. I mean, you aren't playing with someone that you play with often, so you have to realize that you are dealing with the different players. Now, just because of this fact, it could be a bit of a struggle at first, because some players might not understand group content. And they might say that, but at the same time, if they don't, then that could become a really big problem. But that's just kind of what you have to do for the most part. You have to go ahead and just try to, you know, work it out with them and hope that they can realize what is the problem or what is currently going on. As when you are doing group content, it can be a bit of a struggle, because sometimes what happens is you actually have to deal with people that do have a big problem when it comes down to Star Wars Republic, as in, you know, sometimes Pugs can be really rude and they can say a lot of bad things, but at the same time, some of them don't say bad things. They actually go ahead and they're a really useful group that do understand the content, or you actually go ahead and tell them what you have to do in certain situations. Now, I feel like this is really important, mainly because of the fact that when you deal with this kind of stuff in Star Wars Republic, you have to realize that, like I said, you are dealing with different players, and it can become a bit of a hassle once again, because some players do think differently and they have different ideas of how you should approach the content. Now, I know one thing that Pugs really run into problems with is it seems like this happens to a lot of Pugs, but it is TOS story mode. Now, I mean, I personally, whenever I've ran a Pug, I've never had a problem with the Temple of Sacrifice story mode. But based on what I've seen, a lot of people say that they get stuck on Underlurker, and it seems like a lot of people don't figure out the cross mechanic and whatnot, and you have to explain that. Now, I feel like that's just fine in its own, but sometimes you do run into those players, you know, where they just try to, you know, act like they're the best, or they try to boss people around. Now, I feel like if you are in a Pug and there are a bunch of players that don't know what they're doing, or they're having a bunch of problems with the rotations and whatnot, and I feel like you shouldn't just try to boss them around. I feel like you should try to, you know, maybe help them a bit, and if it doesn't work out the best, then you can go ahead, you know, after giving a few attempts, you can feel free to leave, but you just should let the players know once again, because honestly, that's how it works overall with Pugs, is if I ever run into a bad Pug group itself, you know, I'm not one of those players that is just completely rude and just constantly harasses the player, which I don't understand why people do that, honestly, because I mean, if the player itself that you're playing with in the group content isn't the best, then I feel like you shouldn't just try to, you know, just disown them or degrade them. Because once again, you were at that stage likely where you didn't play too often, you didn't do too much, and that's just the whole entire idea of it itself. So as you can tell, we're currently once again playing on KP. A lot of these players haven't done it themselves, and I'm just gonna go ahead and just constantly play, since it is fun to do these every now and then. Honestly, it's even alright if some players don't know what to do itself, because of the fact that when you're level 60, you can just completely destroy these guys. But yeah, I mean, that's one thing I feel like I should go over, is just the player itself and how you should deal with them if they're good, bad, or they don't know what they're doing. Now, another thing that I'm going to go ahead and talk about actually is just the fact about group content itself. Now, as you know, it depends on what server and what people are currently on, but there are people that will try to, pug different stuff itself. Now, I mean, I've seen some for Dread Fortress Nightmare mode and all that stuff. And I mean, it's really useful because, once again, some people do try to, get a different... But anyways, that's besides points. That's just mostly for operations where people do have set requirements. And honestly, the whole entire tactic you can do for this is, like I said, if you have the experience and they're asking for that in a pug, then just go ahead and respect that decision. Whether it's stupid or it's not, then you should just try to, just keep it as in, not try to negotiate and do all that stuff, because once again, it is a pug. Now, another thing you should try to go ahead and pay attention to is actually going to be, it's actually going to go ahead and be, depending on what you're doing group content-wise. Now, if you're actually trying to go ahead and play Star Wars: The Old Republic and you're playing, a Heroic or a Flashpoint, then likely that isn't going to require too much of a skill cap. I mean, for the most part, you will still obviously need gear and know your rotation depending on what level you are. But once again, I mean, you should try to go ahead and focus on just figuring out how the players play, what their strengths and weaknesses are. Because when I run, or when I'm actually on a lower level, and when I actually didn't, when I did play on lower level tunes, I realized that some players, honestly, they do have different ways of thinking about a situation and planning it out. And you shouldn't try to go ahead and, just go with something if it seems like it will fail overall. But I feel like you should go ahead and just try to constantly deal with something in the game itself, as in, just trying to go ahead and help a player out. If he's trying to do something and he has, a huge problem, then that is just something you need to focus on. But you have to realize that some players do consider stuff that's easy or hard and difficult in just different ways. So something that may be easy for me could be difficult for someone else if they've never done it, or if they've done it a few times and didn't really understand mechanics. And I feel like that's just how you should approach pugs itself. I mean, there's not really much to talk about. It's mostly the fact that you really shouldn't try to, just be the boss around, just try to do it as much as you can. But like I said, I mean, you should try to go ahead and overall just help itself, because you do want to go ahead and, help your team and give some tactics and do all that stuff. But at the same time, you don't want to go ahead and just cause lots of problems and just make it, a huge headache that isn't really needed. And I feel like overall that's just something you should live by and learn, because whether it's in Star Wars: The Old Republic or a different game, I'm pretty sure that a lot of players aren't going to want to, deal with someone that's trying to be super bossy, or they're just trying to, I mean, some people will at the fact that, if it's a player that doesn't know what they're doing, and some people may agree or kick them or whatnot. Well, once again, if you are that player, then you're going to have to sadly deal with it. Just try to learn the tactics themselves and then let them know. Because once again, I mean, whenever I played the older operations, I mean, originally when EC, no, not EC, I'm pretty sure it was Scum and Villainy, or, actually hard mode of Scum and Villainy at level 55. I remember that I didn't do that once at all. I've done story mode multiple times during the time, and I was like, hey, I need some help with hard mode. And like I said, I mean, if you just go ahead and tell the players themselves, then that's really useful. But once again, this is a pug, so normally when you do pug something, you're expected to know it, or actually have done it before, because you are playing with random people, and you have to realize that you're gonna have to work with those random people. You have to find out what they do, what's their tactics, and all that stuff. And I feel like it's just something that you need to learn overall in Star Wars: The Old Republic, because some people just constantly, make the mistake of just dealing with different problems, and then it can just go into something absolutely insane where people will just start arguing and insulting each other for no apparent reason. And I feel like that's just something you need to learn overall in a game, whether it's Star Wars: The Republic, CSGO, TF2, PlanetSide, just something, just any game itself, then that's just unsaid. It's just something to learn and live by. Alrighty guys, but that's going to be the end of this Star Wars: The Republic discussion episode. Just kind of going over pug groups, what they are, how you can deal with them, and the struggles and the pros/cons of them. I mean, I thought this would be a really nice video just to go ahead and just go over some of these struggles and some of the really big things that can actually be useful with the whole entire idea of pugging group content in Star Wars: The Republic. So yeah, that's just honestly all I have to say for this whole entire topic itself. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Star Wars: The Republic discussion series. As always, if you guys enjoy these videos, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one.